Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My dear students, I am Ms. Shama Shakil from Peshawar Model School. Today I am going to explain Unit number 3 Life Functions of Class 5. So let's begin with our topic. Have you ever think there's a variety of living things on the earth, but what does it mean to be alive? What characteristics do all organisms or living things have that make them different from non-living things? These are some of the questions which can be raised in your mind, right? There are something which all living things do. These jobs or tasks are called functions, but all living things do so in a different way. This is the important point, but all living things do so in a different way. There are basically 7 functions which all living things perform. First, movement. Second, growth. Third, food. Fourth, respiration. Fifth, waste or excrete. Sixth, sensitivity. Seventh, reproduction. These are also called characteristics of living thing. So let's begin with each. Movement. Most animals can move their whole body, but plants can only move certain parts. Plants open their leaves and turn to face the sun. If I am going to give you example, it's sunflower. The leaves of the sunflower changes its direction or turn its face to the sun. This is what? This is its movement. Talking about animals, animals move from place to place to find food, water, or to avoid danger. This whole movement is called locomotion. Animal basically move their whole body, right? Insects move by flapping their wings. If I'm give you an example, so as they have one or two pair of wings, so insects move by flapping their wings. Growth. All young living things grow. We all know that we all grow. When they become adults, they stop growing. Adults is the final developed stage, right? When they become adults, they stop growing. Some species grow more quickly than others. A human baby takes over 20 years to grow. Always remember the normal year of growth of a human baby, it's almost 20 years. Within 20 years or after 20 years, they just, you can say, in the range of 20 years, they get completely grown up, right? If I'm going to give you an example, a young snake, taking the example of a young snake, you can say the size of your finger can grow and become an adult over 2 meters long. Just imagine the size of your finger can grow and becomes an adult over 2 meters long. A tiger's take few years to reach to its full size. A small seed take years to grow into a tall tree. We all know that small seed just take years to grow into a plant than a complete tall tree, right? So this is the second characteristic or second function of living things. Third one is food. All living things need food in order to perform all the activities of life. Within a single day, we have to perform so many tasks or so many activities, right? And throughout the year, so many activities are there which we have to perform. So all living things need food in order to perform all the activities of life. Food gives them energy. Example, animals get this energy by eating different plants and other animals. And plants with green leaves make their own food by a process of photosynthesis. But not all plants make food in this way, right? There is a process through which plants can make their own food. As we know, plants doesn't depend on other animals or human to feed it up. So simply it produces its own food by a process called photosynthesis, in which they need sunlight, oxygen, carbon dioxide and water, right? You can see here some plants do not make their own food. Those plants which do not make their own food are pitcher plant. Why we call it as pitcher plant? Because it's just shaped like a pitcher, right? Rafflesia. Rafflesia is a plant that cannot make their own food, and mushrooms. We all are very familiar about mushrooms. The next one is respiration. Living things cannot survive without oxygen. We all need oxygen. As a living thing, as a human being, we need oxygen to survive. We breathe in or we take in oxygen. Both plants and animals take in oxygen and give out carbon dioxide when they respire. In the process of respiration, we take in oxygen and take out carbon dioxide. Animals respire in different ways. Mammals, birds, and reptiles breathe through the nostrils. Nostrils are the opening area of our nose. Air is inhaled into a pair of lungs. Insects breathe through tiny holes called spiracles. Oxygen enters the body through these spiracles. If we are talking about insect or taking example of insects, so they breathe through tiny holes called spiracles. Oxygen then enters the body through these spiracles. It's a tiny hole. Looking here, animals live in water like fish, prawns, crabs, and tadpoles breathe through their gills, not through their lungs. Breathe through their gills. Water contains dissolved gases. We know that water contains dissolved gases, right? So they breathe through their gills. Talking about plants, plants breathe through tiny holes called stomata in the leaves. Air and water can pass through these tiny holes. Animals such as earthworm and frogs breathe through their moist body surface when they are in water. Okay, taking example of earthworm and frog, they breathe through their moist body surface when they are in water. Next one is waste. All living things need food. Some of the food is not needed by the body. This is passed out as a waste. It can be solid or fluid. The process in which the body removes waste materials or waste product from the body, from the blood, tissues or organ is called excretion, or simply the process of removing excess from your body is known as excretion. So you can call this one characteristic or function as waste or excrete. The next one is sensitivity. Many animals have the same senses as humans, so they feel things around them. If I am talking about snake, do you know that snakes have long tongues? These pick up chemical particles from the air and ground. A special organ in the head reacts to scent. Scent means smell, right? So these special particles of in snake tongue reacts to scent, right? Spiders have hairy legs. These pick up movements when small insects are caught up in its web. So these are what? These are sensitivity. If we are talking about human as a living thing, so as a human being we also feel this kind of sensitivity. How? When you are when you are touching a very hot pot, so simply what you can do, you can remove your hand. Why? Because you felt that, right? 7, and the last one characteristic or function of living things is reproduction. All living things produce young ones like themselves. Cows, cats, elephants, and monkeys all give birth to babies. Birds, reptiles, and insects lay eggs from which babies hatch. Hatch means coming out. Plants produce seeds, and the seed making itself into the plant, and then it produces flowers and like tall tree. Some plants produce spores, not seed. Always remember, some of the plants produce spores but not the seed. So basically, these are the seven characteristics of living things. I'm recalling it, seven characteristics of living things.